talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pictures. Let's talk about the Cats, how Rex can turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 77 of Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. Joining me, as always, my co-host Stoner and Trev. And we've got a wild one for you tonight, and not just because we're all wearing matching polo. Look at that.
So comfortable. Oh my
God. It is really nice. When we go to training camp, this is what you'll see us in. So be sure to, if you catch us, to say hi as well for that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we win the lottery for that.
That's right.
We are, of course, sponsored by Pacers Running for every run. And make sure you head on out to Lexington, Virginia. And if you find your way over there, check out Sky Bar, where you can find our man Trev slinging them drinks and owning the establishment. So make sure you stop by and say hi, mention Ref the District. And you know what? I'll tell you what, I'll pick up one beer if you do that. So Trev, just let me know. We also have a partnership with DC Sports King. You'll see some of our content. In fact, Trev is going to talk a little bit about some of our warm or cool down. It looks like we have two things on this graphic here listed as warm up, but the cool down will be a grab bag where we'll talk a little bit about that Wizards #1 pick with Johnny Davis. We're also going to be talking about Wayne Rooney and Juan Soto there in the grab bag for the game. We will be talking about which greats go into our 90. So that next 10 thing kind of got a little bit of buzz there with the Commanders fan base after they made a mistake and then corrected it. We're going to give you our definitive 10 for that list. And of course, we'll also talk about, for the warm-up, some Carson Wentz and McLaurin duo. Are they being disrespected? Here on, I think it was PFF had posted a list, and the next kind of highlighted QB there would have been Baker Mayfield, which I know a lot of you don't really like. So we'll be talking about that on the warm-up, and not the first warm-up, not the second warm-up. The first one.
See, people make mistakes, right? Like I made a mistake on the graphic, obviously.
To be honest, I didn't catch it until he just pointed it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't catch it until I had to read it. And then I pulled a Biden and I read exactly what was on the form there. So,
hey, you guys, in honor of us wearing pillows real quick, I figured I'd bring back
it's Fresca. Get at us with that sponsorship, Fresca. I'm drinking out of a Hideaway Pizza. Shout out to Oklahoma there. Hideaway Pizza, great pizza establishment.
Oklahoma?
Yeah.
You're touting something in Oklahoma? Come on, I got a Nats All-Star game.
There you go.
Whatever.
Cup.
That's actually mood appropriate.
Yeah, Nats All-Star game. Yeah.
After they lost their first of the doubleheaders tonight against Seattle, but Juan Soto did make the All-Star team. We'll be talking about that in the cool down. First thing I want to talk about today is this graphic was posted, and I'll take off our branding here. Was posted. Choose your QB wide receiver duo. They put up Tua tag. I'm just not even going to say it, Tua, with Jalen Waddle from Miami, Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin from the Commanders, Drew Lock and DK Metcalf from Seattle, and then Baker Mayfield and DJ Moore. First, I guess I need to know which one is your duo. We'll start with Trev, and then I want to talk about whether or not this is even just disrespectful to Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin.
Who's my quarterback wide receiver duo personally?
Yeah.
I mean, not just because I root for the team, but clearly because of the people who are listed. I'm going Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin. Reasons why: Carson Wentz has an MVP caliber in his body. Terry McLaurin has the legit same kind of, in a sense. He's the captain of the team, 1,000 yards, 1,000 different quarterbacks. Jalen Waddle hasn't done anything yet. He's been with Tua already. DK Metcalf is not going to do anything with Drew Lock. And DJ Moore is a nice compliment wide receiver, but Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, he's going to be overlooked there. So obvious is Terry McLaurin and Carson Wentz.
And not as a homer pick there. Shout out to Tanner and Chris in the chat. Gus Bus also there bringing up a good question.
Exactly.
Why is Waddle in there over Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. Yes.
Doesn't make sense.
A bit of is that what's supposed to equalize it? Because people see Tyreek Hill, they know that he's top 5 wide receiver. Maybe it just tilts the scale a little bit too much for Tua, so they had to put in somebody who's maybe not as dominant.
I think you'd be surprised if you looked at DJ Moore's stats and how they stack up to McLaurin. And
DJ Moore is pretty good.
They got some. He's got some really good stats with really bad quarterbacks too.
That's true. Okay.
So don't disrespect the Terp.
He'll be my number 2 duo quarterback.
Yeah. But
I know you don't love Baker, so that's probably being brought down by Baker Mayfield there.
I think the best quarterback on this list is don't hate me for this, is probably Tua. I'm a Tua guy. I think he's very good.
Okay, hold on. What
just happened here?
And the best receiver.
What the hell is that Nats All-Star?
Do not. I will remove you from this thing if you say his name.
What's his name?
I can't say his name, but he plays for the Seahawks.
He's gone. He's gone. We can't even have him on the channel. Are you kidding me? Is he still picking DK Metcalf over Terry McLaurin? Did we not go through this?
He's on the bottom now. You deserve to be on the bottom with that comment. So.
What's changed since the last time we talked about it? Nothing has changed except one guy got paid and one guy hasn't got paid yet. But still, DK Metcalf is the best receiver of these 4. Tua and Carson are probably right even. But if you're looking at duos, just on what they have here, the best duo combo's got to be Carson and Terry McLaurin.
Thank you.
But I'm just saying, Carson's not the best quarterback and Terry's not the best receiver. But the combos, duo.
You really have Tua over Carson Wentz?
So you mean to tell
me that's pretty bold.
That sounds like you would put Tua paired with DJ Moore, is what you're trying to say. Would probably be the best quarterback.
No, DK Metcalf. If Tua and DK Metcalf were a combo, they'd be way up there. Yeah. Tua and DK would be the number 1 of that, just of that particular group.
You can't see over offensive linemen to get the ball to people.
I mean, what you were looking at basically is a whole bunch of mediocre combos, not mediocre players, but mediocre combos, middle of the pack type combos. It's not Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert. It's not just Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, on and on and on. They can't touch those. So they went way down to this next level, and that's where they decided to make the debate.
Is Carson Wentz really on the Drew Lock level? Is that where we're at?
The combo. He's not. He's way above Drew Lock level, but the DK Metcalf pushes that combo up.
Okay, but I don't believe DK Metcalf is better than Terry McLaurin.
Well, I do.
Secondly, even if I were, and I was with you on this, Stoner, you cannot tell me that DK Metcalf is that same level better to Terry McLaurin that Carson Wentz is to Drew Lock.
And that's why I gave the nod of the combo over that particular combo. I gave the Carson Wentz McLaurin combo.
They're grouping these together to try to make it even, and that's your argument, is that these are mediocre, all in the same tier, and you cannot tell me the combo of Drew Lock, DK Metcalf is the same tier as Carson Wentz, Terry McLaurin.
You're probably right. If you had to rank them, that would probably be number 4 of those 4.
Yeah.
But they were just trying to get that conversation going of kind of the mid-tier combos.
Okay. I think we all agree it's going to be 4 of 4, right? That's the worst combo. I'm with you, Trev. I'm with you. It's Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin, and it's clearly them. Not rose-colored glasses, not burgundy and gold colored glasses.
I don't want to go too far on this, but Stoner, would you straight up trade Terry McLaurin for DK Metcalf right now?
No, I would not.
Okay, all right, that's all I want to know. Okay, let's go.
And I not because I think Terry's a better receiver, but because of the overall package that you get with Terry is probably better than.
There we go.
Okay. And and again with the whole culture thing, he fits the new culture of this organization and what they're trying to do. Okay. That's all. But if if you're just living kind of in a world where you don't have to worry about all that stuff, I would make that trade for sure.
All right,
Man,
but not,
I can't believe
not from the Washington Commanders.
Not from their
standpoint.
perspective.
Right.
If this
Not
were
right
fantasy, if this were a fantasy draft, you're doing it every day.
Like that.
Shout out MW4 Merle, First String. Shout out Toothpick and his gang out there. First String Podcast. Make sure to check them out. Gus Bus bringing up that DK is 2 years younger. Shout out to P Dub in the house. I personally go the Commanders grouping here. Yep. Then I'm going to go Carolina, but I'm higher on Baker Mayfield than you two are.
That's a bias. That's an Oklahoma bias. Admit it. Just say it. Say it, Nathan.
I don't care if you can be all over DK Metcalf's junk. I can appreciate Baker Mayfield.
That's fine. Right? That's fine. That's what I'm saying. You just got to say
DJ Moore is also better than Waddle, in my opinion. And then I go Tua and Waddle, and then of course, like I said, Drew Lock is the worst. Shout out Kenneth in the chat. Yeah, that's just a horrible duo.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up our game chat here in a moment, but I did want to. I thought it was a little disrespectful to kind of put the Commanders group in that, but Soner, you don't think that? Trevor, where are you at with that one? Do you feel like that's a fair grouping for the team, or is this?
That's a fair grouping for the team. For that because they're all number one wide receivers on. Maybe not Jalen Waddle, but on their respective teams, they're all number one wide receivers. So,
who else would, or who would you rather see in that grouping? What sort of combo do you think compares more in that grouping? Like
you could put a Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith in there if you want,
or AJ Brown.
Or AJ Brown
with Jalen Hurts. That's probably a little bit closer, and even maybe
Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson.
I think that
Jefferson might be just too good, right? That's one where you put in Thielen like you do Waddle just to kind of even it out, because
bring it down
Justin Jefferson has 3,000 yards over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He is objectively, as much as I love Terry, he's objectively better than Terry McLaurin.
Aaron Rodgers and Sammy Watkins.
I mean, he's their best receiver, isn't he? Sammy Watkins is the best receiver in Green Bay right now.
He used to be so good. I used to really like Sammy Watkins.
Kind of, I guess. He's
been there. I know, but I mean, man, I think Green Bay's going to suck this year.
I don't think
personally.
So. No. I don't.
I mean, not suck, relatively speaking, right?
Yeah,
for Green Bay.
It means they'll be like 10-7 rather than 13-3 or something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
13-4.
Packers, Washington Commanders, NFC Championship. You heard it here first.
Green Bay Packers?
Yeah.
Wow, against the Commanders. That'd be the second time. Who won the first? Who won the first one earlier in the season? Trev.
They beat us last season, right? Oh, yes. For the season? Okay.
Yeah, you're saying that if they meet in the NFC Championship game, so where are they at? They beat us, so it's a revenge game for Washington. I like our odds. I like our odds.
For sure. And we lose by like a touchdown or maybe 10. We're like in it into the fourth quarter because Aaron Rodgers, and we just are the Commanders.
If you're talking Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game, I definitely like our odds then.
When is this? What did I miss?
This is dreaming.
Just jump into the NFC championship game?
He's taking that duo all the way to the championship game. We'll see. I mean, if that happens, you'd have to put Carson Wentz into the next 90, and that's in fact what we're going to be talking about when we get to the game. The Washington Commanders want us to decide the next 10 people to go into the legacy, as they call it. That's all coming up here on The Game. The Game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and D.C. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running. All right, now that we've picked the best duo out of the bunch, which I believe we were actually all in agreement there. Carson and Terry were the best duo out of that bunch. Let's go ahead and talk about this next topic after we give Merle a huge shout out. Appreciate the $5 there.
For that.
We do. I'm not sure. Do we have? We just want the kids yay.
There you go.
I can just do it. An alarm as in a well, guys, we got it. We got another one. We'll figure something out for that. But Merle donated $5. Of course, we have the super chat always open. We don't like to bring attention to it because we're not there to we appreciate when people donate money to the channel. It does help us create more content. So we appreciate you for the $5. He says 20,374 yards, I believe, is what he's going to for 140 touchdowns, 57 interceptions, 90.1 QBR. Stop the slander.
Who's that? Whose stats are those?
Carson Wentz, 57 interceptions is the dead giveaway there.
I'll take it.
Gotcha. Stop the slander. Yeah. Oh, wow. Hang on. Who's slandering Carson Wentz?
You taking Tua over him. You were dogging Terry McLaurin. You were just. I'm not even sure. Do we have to question your fandom? Of course we don't we don't do that here on the channel. You can be a fan however you want to be a fan. We believe that. But Stoner sometimes, even though he's never touched the MJ, this man does live up to his name on that regard. He's
MJ. I never heard.
I'm not sure what it's cool. I'm not hip to all that, and you can tell my lingo is well behind. Trev's lost me.
I'm trying to find out.
In our chat for our audio listeners, those who listen to our live stream later, in the chat we do have people calling out Stoner for his last name, Merle being one of them. But yeah, it's for the record, in case you're new to the channel, it's his last name's Stone, and he's just gone by Stoner his whole life. It's not because he's into the green or anything like that. It's just the devil's lettuce.
I'm not into the devil's lettuce.
Tanner say there's all sorts of names. I've never touched this stuff either, so
I'm not opposed to it. I just my profession for all these years has not allowed me to partake. So
the military kind of frowns upon it when if you take part in those kind of things. But we're not here to take part in the devil's lettuce, as it's called.
Wow.
That segue went south.
I was fixing my audio and stuff, and I just heard devil's lettuce as I come back. So here we are.
It's good. It's perfect. Right on time here. The Washington Commanders asked us as fans to help them pick the next 10 that are going to go into their top 90 for the legacy that is the Washington franchise.
Yep.
Their first list, however, was a little disappointing to a lot of people. It was missing some key players over the last few years, namely Trent Williams was the notable omission there. And then some of these other legacy players, they misspelled their name.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't care.
I don't. I know I don't. I didn't.
No, I mean, like our organization just does. As long as it's out there,
we don't care. Our organization doesn't care.
Yeah, like as long as we get it out there, we don't proofread anything. We're just trying to, in such a hurry, to do the right thing. And
I mean, it's a little bit embarrassing, but
it's a lot of
me personally. I know a lot of people were offended really about some of these things where you got misspellings on legends from this team, and you had maybe wrong years, you had bad pictures, things like that. I think that's kind of just bad quality control.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a mark on the organization as a whole. And I think Tanner's right. Some intern drew. Now, look, you got to have systems in place so that so that this doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when it does happen, it's not that big of a deal. But for me,
you do have to clean it up, which is what they did. To Tanner's other point there, whether or not he was left off because he was still playing, they still had Kirk Cousins on the original list.
Yeah.
So and Ryan Kerrigan, while not on a team. He's not officially retired either.
Right.
But noticeably, Kirk Cousins was on the list. So I do feel Trent being left off was a major oversight. But I'm with both of you. I'm with everybody here who it's just like, it's really not that big of a deal when you look at the context that they corrected it, right? I mean, there was a lot of things that were bad, right? They misspelled 2 names, which kind of goes in line with the franchise. They had misspelled London Fletcher's name. You got the Sean Taylor debacle from last year. It just feels like they have these missteps quite often. And so they had Doug Williams' time was wrong. Like there's a whole list that Jake Russell had come out with. That was just, it definitely looked like poor quality control.
Yeah.
So that aside, they came out and they said, hey, I'm going to actually read this tweet directly here.
This is from the Commanders tweet.
This is from the Washington Commanders. Okay. We want you to help us select the next 10 players to join our 90 greatest list. Your feedback over the past 48 hours has been heard, and we appreciate your passion. We've updated the ballot below.
Okay. So that's, again, they're listening.
Yep. They listened, they changed because of that feedback, right? The feedback was very loud and the feedback was very mean. And yes, I say debacle instead of debacle, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but it's still fun.
These guys are teasing me in the chat right now. Shout out Tyrone for the $2 there. Our number 2 pick, Matheson, him, Jonathan Allen, fire. Yeah, they're going to be a good duo this year. I think is going to be pretty good with Mathis in the line there. But yeah, I just feel like this. I think people are a little too hard when it comes to these things, but it's because the franchise just can't get it right. And to Gus Bus's here, how can we trust the team to beat its opponents who are actively looking to beat them when the team comes out a loser in these non-competitive efforts?
Because one doesn't have to do with the other. Do you think the ability of Carson Wentz on the field has anything to do with the misspelling of Joe Lavender's name?
No.
Or is Terry McLaurin going to run a bad route or not be in shape because they didn't have Joe Gibbs's proper years of service, second stint with the team? No, I don't think one has absolutely anything to do with the other. Sorry, Gus, kind of attacking you there a little bit, but
no, it was just his point that he was bringing up. Now, I think here's probably a little bit of a hot take here. One of the things that they've tried to do over the last couple of years, and I know a lot of people feel like this is an attack on the Commanders, or on the Washington franchise, right? An attack on the Redskins, but they have been actively trying to move away from that period of their franchise history, right? They wanted to move away from the name because of the racist uses of the word Redskins, and they want to move away from the culture that under Dan Snyder was not very good, right? So one of those things they did to do this is they took people who are not involved in the franchise and they put them in to change that culture. And I think this is one of the byproducts that you have from this is you have people who aren't as invested in this franchise because they're not legacy people. These aren't people who grew up with the Redskins. These are people who are being brought in because they didn't have anything to do with the horrible culture that was before them. And they're trying to change all that. And I think this might be a byproduct there. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if it's necessarily a hot take, but it's my particular look at this is this is a byproduct of the fact that they've just had so much turnover in the people who are making these decisions. And
they don't have an appreciation for
they're not catching that.
The players of the past.
Who cares? Can we pick these players?
We can. But this is I think a valuable part of the conversation.
We're picking all 90. Trev, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's what Trev was worried about doing all 90 earlier.
I don't even know 40 or half.
No, it's just the next 10.
I'm ready for that.
Just the next 10. Gus Bus asks why even celebrate 90 years, though.
Yeah, that's
They're
weird.
bringing the past on their
That's
own.
a good point.
I mean, the franchise has been around for 90 years. In fact, that's actually right here on their list here. It says Command Legacy.
The new patches are removed.
The 90 patch is pretty clean. It all started on baseball field in Boston, over 400 miles from our eventual home. Few could have predicted what we would become back in 1932. Over the last 90 years, the Burgundy and Gold has established itself as one of the most storied franchises in American football, forging a legacy highlighted by 3 Super Bowls and a total of 5 world championships. Along with the hardware we've collected in our trophy case, we've spearheaded initiatives that have shifted the landscape of the game as we know it, including the NFL's first fight song, marching band, and radio network. In February 2022, we announced the identity that will carry us into the next 90 years and beyond: the Washington Commanders. Command Legacy, it says. That's on the front page here, and then goes on to vote for the 90. So in June of 2022, players and coaches, I'm going to see if I can't get rid of
June of
this.
2002. Not 20.
2002, right. Sorry. In June of 2002, players and coaches who were significant contributors to the team's storied history were hand-selected to become members of the franchise's 70 greatest as a way of honoring Washington's 70th anniversary. In April 2012, we added another 10 individuals to the prestigious list to create the 80 greatest. So these players that are on this particular bubble here are not a part of those 80 greatest. These are since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a little bit bigger here. And they want us to help fill out the next 10.
Yep.
Okay, so you think it's easy? We have Champ Bailey, Joe Lavender, D'Angelo Hall, Mike Sellers, London Fletcher, Larry P., Robert Griffin III, Daryl Grant, Laverne Torgeson, Stephen Davis, Alfred Morris, Trent Williams, Kirk Cousins, Santana Moss, Ryan Kerrigan, Chris Cooley, and Chip Lowmiller.
Very easy.
You think it's easy?
Yep. Because there's 7.
Shout out Merle again for the $2
Thanks, Merle.
donation there.
What's the or what?
You got to do the sound effect. The kids yelling or something.
The kids cheering?
Yeah.
And I forgot for Tyrone. We got to give one to Tyrone.
Yeah, Tyrone, appreciate you.
So we appreciate it. We'll get that worked out a little bit better here.
So there's 17 guys there, right? And they want us to pick 10. So 7 don't make it. So it might be just easier to get rid of certain 7 guys. And that's why I think it makes it pretty easy. If you got a picture in black and white, you gone. Because that means you played back before there was color. Although, I don't think necessarily Chip Lowmiller and Dale Grant did that. But if you're playing back then and you didn't make the 70 greatest or 80 greatest, you ain't gonna make the 90 greatest.
Yeah. So
although I would like to make a case for Daryl Grant. However, so that gets rid of 4 guys right there. So I only got to get rid of 3 more. Get rid of Joe Lavender, get rid of Mike Sellers, and get rid of, I already forgot my other one, Stephen Davis off of this list. Look, those guys were very good players for this organization, but they weren't the best of the best. Oh, I'm sorry. It was RG3, not Stephen Davis. RG3. RG3 can't be on the list of the greatest in franchise history. He had one spectacular year, but that doesn't get you in the Hall of the Greatest for this organization, right? Champ's in, D Hall's in, London's in. I would like to talk about Daryl Grant if we can. Stephen Davis, Alfred Morris, Trent Williams, Kirk Cousins, Santana Moss, Kerrigan, and Cooley. So you might be able to convince me to bring in Daryl Grant instead of Stephen Davis.
Kirk Cousins, really?
Oh yeah, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback that this team has had since Joey T, and maybe even.
I think he's pretty close to owning several of the records for the franchise, which is a little sad given the 5 years of play. But Yeah, I'm not, and maybe I'm just being too hard on Kirk Cousins. I would dump Cousins.
Yeah, I'm
And
dumping
this is-
him.
I have a Champ Bailey jersey, but I don't know that I would call him a Redskins or Washington great.
How many years was he here?
He was
Doesn't
here
matter.
for just it was 4 years is what's listed. So, but it was really 3
For what?
seasons. I mean, it was. And then he was traded away. Obviously, what gave us Clinton Portis.
Yeah.
He only played 3 seasons here, or he played 4 seasons? Which one?
Let me double check my
think he
math, but
played
I'm pretty sure it was 3 seasons.
I thought he played 4, but okay. But still, he wasn't terrible. He was very good. I mean, he's obviously in the Hall of Fame, but he did most of that work.
My math is really bad because it's actually
5?
even more. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
I
very.
can see
He
he's
was very good.
he's damn good. All right, then I have a Champ jersey. I love Champ. I wanted him to be the next Darryl Green. Very disappointed when they traded him away. Gus Bus with the correct call there. 5 seasons. I agree with Tanner. There's some quality O-line that might be missing. I think if you check out the 80, I think that there's several that are on the 80 list. So maybe some of the ones that you feel there. Trent Williams absolutely belongs on that list, especially if we're keeping Champ Bailey
Mike
there.
Sellers? Really? You would dump Mike Sellers?
I mean, come on.
He's one of the
a
best
fullback.
fullbacks. He's one of the best fullbacks we ever had.
Okay, that means nothing to me. He was a fullback. Sure, they're important. His role was important. Is he
Back in the
one
day
of the
when we
greatest?
only had offenses that used the fullback, yeah, he was one of the best to ever do it.
Get out of here with Mike Sellers. I appreciate everything he did.
Mike Sellers as well.
Thank you.
I like him. D Hall can stay for longevity reasons. London Fletcher needs to be in the Hall of Fame,
Obviously,
so of
yeah,
course I keep him there.
Yeah.
Stephen Davis, I can take
not
or leave.
I'm not keeping Stephen Davis.
Yeah, I he's on the bubble. I agree with Stoner. Pretty much, if you're in black and white, you had your chance to be on the 70.
Right.
You had your chance to be on the 80. You're just going to miss the chance for the 90. So it does. That's 4. So you only have to get rid of 3 in that regard. I hear the arguments for Darryl Grant. I hear.
Nope, don't want him.
But he's in black and white. I'm not sure why we didn't include him in the 70 or the 80. But he's just
clearly for a reason.
Have to keep on waiting.
Do you think that was something that the team did, who's ever running this again, that they did on purpose for these black and whites? Because these are guys from the 80s and 90s. These aren't guys from the 40s and 50s before they had color photography. I mean, go back and look at photos from the 80s and 90s. There was color. Color pictures hasn't been around for only 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, we're getting a little bit carried away. These guys are from the 90s. But anyway, I was just wondering if maybe they did that on purpose. So
if that was a choice,
vote for him.
Yeah, could be. I think there's a lot of people who are pulling for Darryl Grant on this. I hear the voices on both sides for RG3. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this down here as we talk about RG3 specifically.
Nope.
Trev, you're saying no, but Stoner said yes.
No, I didn't.
Did you? No, you removed him?
No. He has no.
He had Stephen Davis first, but then he changed it.
Yeah, and then I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot.
Okay,
Robert.
you forgot RG3.
No.
Neither one of you think RG3, who fans clamored to get him put on because he gave Washington the greatest season they've had since 2012, which was the 2012 season. So that was the last time they picked, right? Was the last time they picked the 80 was in 2012. He had the single most exciting season that the Washington franchise has put together since then.
Okay.
Right?
He won an NFC championship 2 years ago.
NFC
East
championship.
But they were 7-9.
It wasn't as exciting as RG3 season. So so both of you, despite the fact that since then he's been the most excited, you're saying no RG3.
Yeah. No. He only did it for 1 year. It was an electric year. It was a great year. He did it for one
Deshaun
season.
Jackson had more electrifying time and for us than RG3.
Yeah.
And he stayed hurt too.
I'm not saying you guys are wrong because I'm totally with you. RG3 does not belong on this. RG3 absolutely does not belong on this.
Baltimore maybe, but
I'm surprised to see how many people fight for RG3 on that regard because of that exciting season and what he brought to the team. And I mean, honestly, like I thought we were there, guys. I thought I really up until he ended up in the turf and we lost that 14-0 lead. Like I thought that was it. We've arrived. We finally can get away from this pain. So I feel, and I have an RG3 jersey. So I feel where fans have some passion for him. But
why you going to write a book about it?
Behind it.
You can't put him in one of the 90s going to write a book about us telling everything that would happen.
He didn't, though.
Yeah, because he got a better job. They're like, oh, never mind. I'm going to just take the book back. And come on. No.
Yeah,
Dave and the champ
can't have him in there. Again, it was a great year. And I don't even know if if Trev knows this story, but when we were in Germany, when Nathan and I were in Germany, and Nathan was bragging about this kid, RG3 at Baylor, and he says, I want this guy on the Redskins so bad. And I was like, come on, he's a flash in the pan. He's a product of the system. I didn't really want him. And sure enough, we got him. And it was an electric year, and I was all in, and I thought he was going to be the greatest Redskins quarterback ever. And I thought the bad stuff was finished and all, and then he flamed out, and it was over. So, no, he doesn't belong on any kind of greatest Redskins / football team / Commanders list.
He's a great story of the franchise, but he's not.
It was a great year. And that's it.
Dave agreeing with you, Trev. No RG3, such a diva. He did have the book that he was going to put out, and then he wasn't going to put out, and there's some question on why that was.
So I'm sued.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all in agreement. As far as the RG3 call in that one, I got to see him in person when Baylor played Oklahoma State, and I just could tell he was something special, and that's why I was excited to see him come to the Burgundy and Gold. But he doesn't belong on this list. We can remove him. So that's 4 of the black and whites. We got RG3 off there. We need 2 more for me, and I think Joe Lavender and Steven Davis are my cuts.
Yeah, I'll take those 2.
Well,
if you have to keep Kirk Cousins.
If you have to keep Kirk Cousins, then Steven Davis is, I think, the one who misses out there. And it's similar kind of feeling for the other ones. He had a chance to make it in the top 80 list. And if he makes it, you're telling me that nobody was of note this last decade to surpass him, and that's problematic.
Yeah.
So,
And
Lavernius Coles is not on here. What the hell?
Who's not? Lavernius Coles? It's because Santana took his spot. I don't think there's any doubt about any of the other guys. Somebody brought up Brandon Sheriff. Maybe he should be on there.
No.
In 7 seasons, he was a 5-time Pro Bowler. He was a 2-time All-Pro.
So
which this team hasn't had since the punter way back in the 90s. What was that guy's name?
You know what else this team hasn't had since way back in the 90s? A winning season. So
well, I know, but what I'm saying is he was very consistent. He was very good when he played.
Consistently hurt when he played. He played half.
He still made the Pro Bowl. He still made the Pro Bowl. He still made All Pro.
They had to pick somebody from our division. He's the best one out of our division, so they had to pick somebody.
You don't have to. There's no law. This isn't Major League Baseball where you have to bring somebody in.
Is there a point where we're going to get to this list and maybe some of these players are going to get removed for other players? Like, let's say the next 10 seasons are just amazing. Carson Wentz is what everybody wants him to be.
Yeah.
And, you
like
know, Terry
Dotson,
McLaurin, obviously, and Dotson, everybody, like, they're just explosive. You know, maybe they win a Super Bowl. Maybe they just be dominant for the next decade.
Yeah.
Do you think that then there would be enough players from this next decade to maybe start taking out some of these players that are, you know, maybe not as good, like the Mike Sellers?
No, you can't take guys off. What are you doing? You can't take guys out. Say, oh, you're in the ring. No, better. You know
you're
what?
Not taking him off the ring, Stoner. But when you're talking about your top 100, franchise history, if there are people in this next decade that were performed better than Mike Sellers or Kirk Cousins, you can't remove them from the top 100.
Terry McLaurin will be on there. Antonio Gibson has a good chance of being on there.
Like Chase Young and Sweat, and Allen. You know, maybe Carroll get in there. Yeah. I see what you're saying, but no, you can't. Once you're on there, you're on there.
I disagree with that, Stoner. I disagree with that. If there are 14 people in the next decade who have brought a Super Bowl, for instance, to Washington, I am probably going to put them in over some of these other people who just squeaked in by the fact that this last decade and probably the decade before it were just awful. They're no longer a part of the top 100. They're like 101 and they're 105, but they're not going to be the top 100. They get replaced.
What are you doing? You can't do that. That's mean. That's mean.
I don't rightly care.
Right. That's just mean. Hey, Mike Sellers, you know all that cool stuff you've got in the stadium, in this new stadium, and we got our 90th anniversary team and all this other stuff, and you've got your whole thing. Yeah, we're taking that back. Remember all those stuff that we gave you, all the cool plaques and all this other stuff and this frame stuff? Yeah, give that back. You can't have that anymore.
Anything back?
Real. Yeah.
You were still named to the top 90 within the first 90 years.
Yeah, but you're not in the top 100?
Not when they get to 100, no.
I mean,
that's crazy. I never heard anything like that before. I can't believe you're taking guys off the list. Are you going to take guys off the Ring of Honor?
No, that's
stadium.
That's something that you get for life. I mean, this is not changing it.
Probably.
Gus Bus says it's hard to keep those hypothetical 14 players who continuously contributed to the championship teams nowadays. I see your point, Nathan, but it's not really feasible.
Yeah,
you're right. So it's, you know, all these names we listed off on the team right now, probably not going to keep them in 5 years, but if they help you win a championship and then they leave, but then somebody else helps you stay competitive for the next 5 years that we get within the next couple of years, so you have some longevity there, wouldn't that be worth it? Maybe not at 100, but then when we get to like 120 and we look back at this decade, if we won a championship and went to 2 NFC championship games and, you know, we're continually winning, you know, football games, you got to consider them over some of these teams that were god awful, right?
So you're going to take off a guy like maybe from the 30s who played for like 5 seasons and rushed for a total of like 700 yards because that's the way it was back in those particular days. You're going to take that guy off from the 100 list when you get to it.
Yeah. If he's made it this far, it has not been on a definitive list by then, like you just said about these guys.
No, I'm saying he's on the list.
If he's on the list,
you're going to take him off because
you look at it. Gus Bus brought up the 75.
Changing. Yes, it's time to move on.
Yeah, it's just you look at the particular
take
era.
The plaque down, exactly.
You look at that particular era, and then you kind of accommodate for it. In the NBA, they went from 50 to 75. Yeah. And JJ Redick
will be around in the next 10, 20 years from that time.
Stoner, you called yourself JJ last week, right?
Yeah.
So JJ Redick got himself in trouble for like talking about how some of those guys who played in 30s just aren't as good as the guys who are playing now, right? So this is kind of similar. Like some of these players are going to be better than their counterparts in their thing.
Did they take them off that list?
Probably. We don't know.
No, they did not. No, they did not.
But over the last 3 decades, this team has not exactly performed as well as they did the years prior.
Even if they become a great team and you have these 14 hypothetical great players, you're going to have to cut the list at 10. You got to cut the list somewhere. You don't take guys off Of
Yeah,
course,
you
there are
do?
guys who couldn't compete with today's athletes, but they competed against the athletes of that day, and they were the best of the best during that time.
Bye.
You don't disrespect them by taking them off the list.
Take 'em off the
Santana
list.
Moss would run circles around whatever guy
No,
who
he
played
would
in
not.
the 30s.
Well, yeah, definitely,
Or,
but like,
or not even Santana Moss. Let's go back to Lavernius Coles.
there you
Jameson
go.
Crowder is 10 times the player that a guy from the 30s was, but you're not putting Jameson Crowder in for that guy. What are we doing here?
And we didn't say Jameson Crowder. We said like a Terry McLaurin or Dotson if he lives that.
Curtis
So,
Samuel could make the list if he wanted to.
Curtis Samuel would make it over these guys from the 30s.
All right, so
Dave-
take them off.
Dave, I want to know what players you're removing there. We're all in agreement. If you have a black and white photo, you're off. And then
Dax Milne would make it over.
we
most
all
of the
took
guys from the 30s.
Dax Milne
off
is
Joe
cool.
Lavender, and
Gangster.
we're in agreement with Joe Lavender, and we're in agreement with RG3 being off. So we just the
Steven Davis,
last
too.
one is where we question. Trev and I went with Steven Davis is off the list,
Mhm.
and
Daryl
Dan
Grant's
Stoner-
on.
No.
And no, we got rid of
Black and
all black
white.
and white's gone, and you got rid of Mike Seller, is what
Oh, okay.
what Stoner did.
So you guys are picking Sellers over Davis.
yes,
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
All day, every day.
All right.
And Liddell Betts. If Liddell, I mean, you know. But,
Liddell Betts. Yeah, he didn't make the cut.
no,
didn't make the cut. Gus Bus would still like to have Sam Huff as our Mike linebacker. I think that speaks to our linebacker core more than it does.
I'd rather have
Yeah,
Thomas
the,
Davis from Carolina
yeah,
again. He's
Sam-
pretty good.
Sam Huff is pretty
I'd take
legendary.
Sam Huff like today, like not Sam Huff but from back in his day. I'd take Sam Huff. Oh wait, did he pass this past
Sam
year?
Huff's he passed away
Oh,
recently.
sorry. I didn't
Tommy T is going to take Low Miller
That's
on
what
this
I
one.
didn't
In fact, he says he has to make it in. Tommy, we're going to need an explanation on that one because I kind of agree with Gus here. Not much longevity for a kicker. He was on the team from 88 to 94. Actually, that is pretty
7 years for a kicker.
reasonably. I actually kind of agree. It's not
Come
too
on.
long for a kicker.
Come on, he's a kicker. Let's stop. Unless your name's Mark Mosley, you don't belong anywhere on the
Let's
list.
see one of his
Okay.
MVP.
Point proven.
What?
If there's a kicker already on the list from the 40s, 50s, or 60s,
Yeah.
do you take him off to replace them for somebody
Well,
else? the next
You're not getting rid of
No.
Mosley, right? He won the MVP. You can't get rid of him.
No, but if he's saying if there's a kicker from the 40s who's on the list, which we have no idea, maybe there is, maybe there's not. But if there's a kicker from the 40s, are you replacing him with Chip Lowmiller because Chip Lowmiller has 10 times the stats
Yes.
the guy from the 40s has? No,
Yeah.
you're not taking him off.
Taking
He
him
did
off.
make a Pro Bowl and an All Pro, according to Tommy.
Yeah.
I will tell you this: Tressway is on my 100 list. I don't care who else is there.
Yeah.
That's just
No.
because he punted Oklahoma.
No, he's a
He-
friggin' punter.
He's
He's
so
a friggin' punter.
you cannot tell me that he has not been one of the best players for Washington over the last 7
Yes,
years.
I can. Yes, I can. I can tell you that definitively. Yes, I can. 1,000,000,000%. He's a punter, number one. Number two, how many Pro Bowls has he made? Right? Zero.
He's
he's
been-
not
he's-
even considered
He's been
one of
snuffed
the
on that.
best
Yeah.
in his league. Half the teams, he's not even considered one of the best. So
Would you
let's
like him
stop
if he
with
was
the,
if he wasn't as
Tressway.
charismatic and cool as he is now? Would you still like him?
Just because he's from Oklahoma. Let's again,
Yeah, I
let's get the
know.
bias out there. Let's expose it.
It is.
Just make sure
He's
everybody knows.
also, he's also he's legit one of the best players on the team. And he's beloved by his teammates too.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Probably
Kirk Cousins
doesn't matter. It
Is
doesn't
on
matter
that
in the long.
list, and he was hated by his teammates, right? And
Fair
he's
enough.
not charismatic at
Yes.
all.
I'm not ashamed of my Oklahoma roots here.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
by the way,
okay.
another
If
one
you wanna
there.
say it, it's okay.
Boomer. Another one there. Trent Williams, another great OU player for the team. So gotta
Yeah,
love
how's
gotta love the
that,
guys from the Crimson and Cream coming over to the Burgundy and Gold.
his name's. How's that Malcolm Kelly working out for you?
Yeah.
Hey, I was excited.
How was that
Malcolm Kelly
Adrian
was.
JP run?
Hey, Adrian Pierce is a boxer now, ain't he?
He was in the Super Bowl. Okay.
All day a boxer, ain't he now? All day
Peterson.
boxing now.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about Peterson. He was good when he
multi
was
sports.
here. But P. Ryan was in the Super Bowl, but he was. What did he play? One play? Did he play
I
one
actually
play?
don't know. I don't
I
think
don't
it
even
was.
think he got in for a play.
No.
Yeah, these Oklahoma guys keep them far away from my team.
Hollywood Brown, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you can go over there. And where's he at now?
He's
Where's
in
he at?
Arizona, right?
Arizona. Yeah.
Kyler Murray. Yeah, there's another one.
All right. Well, we're going to get away from the
Taylor Hurt.
Sooner
Oh, there's
love,
another
and
one.
we're going to move on to the grab bag here on the cool down. That's our definitive list. We might have had a bit of a tussle on that last name there, and we're not happy with Kirk Cousins on the list. But what are you going to do?
You like that?
Not exactly a whole lot of people to pick there, which is probably why you see some of those black and white photos. But we're going to head to the cool down right now for the grab bag. Some more DC sports coming. All right. Thanks for sticking with us this long. We appreciate all those people bantering back and forth in the chat here as we stream live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as we always do on Wednesday at 7:30. This is our grab bag session now for the cool down, something that Stoner loves to continue going back into. And it's because there's been a lot of things going on for DC Sports. In fact, we've done a few 2-minute takes that we've put out on DC Sports King. Make sure you head out to dcsportsking.com to make sure you're keeping up with all of your DC sports, and you get to see us give our 2-minute takes, some more of our crazy antics like we have today in a 2-minute fashion. You can see me go back and forth on the fence for our first topic here, which is Juan Soto made his second All-Star, or is making his second All-Star appearance this year. Is he the right pick for the Washington Nationals to go? Stoner, what do you think?
Well, yeah. Don't ask yourself, because you won't give a definitive answer. So me and Trev are going to have to take a side here. Yeah, you have to pick Juan Soto. He's the face of the franchise. He is known around the league as one of the best players. He did start heating up right before the All-Star break. In fact, I don't know what he did in Game 2 today, but he hit a 3-run bomb in the first game today. So he's really heating up. He's the face. He's a young star. He was in the home run hitting contest last year. He's going to be in it again this year. Josh Bell might have slightly better numbers, but I bet you outside of DC, 90% of baseball fans have no idea who Josh Bell is. This is a game for the fans. You want to bring in the fans. You want to treat them to the stars, young stars, especially of the game. Juan Soto was the right choice.
Everything Stoner just said is exactly what I'm saying. I don't follow baseball that much, but it is Juan Soto. I know they're trying to extend him again. They're trying to come up with a better price and extend him again. So there's that. He is the face of the franchise. He's in the home run derby last year. I mean,
do you know who Josh Bell is, Trev?
No, I don't. But I think
right. You know who Juan Soto is?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. That's why he's.
And that was my argument. My other argument, however, was Josh.
Argument? One of your two arguments.
Josh Bell has probably been having a better season up to this point.
Yeah,
I think you could potentially argue it. I don't really think that it's in Soto's favor when you look at holistically at the stats. I think Josh Bell's just been having a better season overall. That said, I'm with you, Stoner. Soto's the right choice. He's the name of the franchise. You have to send somebody. You're going to send one of the best young players in baseball.
Yep.
And you saw what excitement he brought last year to the home run derby. He's entered it again this year. Last year, normally you don't like going your guy going to the home run derby because it messes with their swing and there's some issues. But last year, Soto was kind of in that kind of same rut headed into All-Star, plays the home run derby, does his thing in the home run derby, and then has a phenomenal second half.
Right. I think that's been debunked, that little theory. The last few years, guys in the home run hitting contest have been tearing it up in the second half.
Well, that's good, and that's certainly what we national fans will be hoping happens, even if they're still headed to being bottom dwellers, as the Nationals just aren't very good.
Nope.
Neither are the Washington Wizards, and it doesn't look like they're going to be getting much help from their 10th overall pick and Johnny Davis. And you can actually catch Trev's 2-minute take here on DC Sports King sometime in the near future. Trev, do you want to give us a sneak peek to what you think about Johnny Davis, especially as he's kind of flamed out here in the Summer League?
B-U-S-T.
Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. And I said this when you guys were doing the live draft party. I called in from work. I said Big Ten players don't make it in the NBA. A list came out with that proof. I'll get to that in my 2-minute take probably later on in the future. But yeah, why do you think they went out and got Monte Morris and Will Barton if they were so sold on Johnny Davis? Why else did they go get DeLon Wright from Atlanta, point guard, shooting guard? So they just got 3 guards in free agency and drafted a guard. So that kind of says something about
and signed Bradley Beal, a guard, who they say can play point guard.
Exactly. So I don't look for him to play as much as Kispert played last year as a rookie. I didn't think he'd get much playing time, but he did. But I still don't think with all the positions, and that's another guard. All the positions we have at the guard position, it's going to be kind of hard to see Johnny Davis getting a lot of playing time this season. So
Kispert can play the 3 a little bit more, and then I think Johnny Davis has a potential chance for that. Now, Bradley Beal had some strong words for Johnny Davis. What did you think about Bradley Beal, Stoner, reaching out to Johnny Davis and say, "You're the best player on the court, act like it"?
Yeah, I like that because he's just trying to instill confidence. And I think that's his biggest problem right now, or his biggest challenge that he's got to overcome, is simply his confidence. Because when I've been watching, and I watched all 3 games that he's played so far in Summer League, and what I've noticed is that whenever he makes a move to the basket and he's met by a defender, he instantly stops his dribble, picks up his dribble. So he's not confident that he can make that second move, that response to the defense that he did in Wisconsin, because he knew he was the best player on the court at Wisconsin and he knew he could beat these guys. So right now, I think everything's just a little too fast for him. He's not confident in his ability to be able to beat these guys. And that's just going to take time. I saw it in Kispert last year too. He was constantly doing that. When he was making a move, as soon as a defender met him, he picked up the ball and looked to pass it. And then later on in the year, he started getting to the basket a little bit more because he was getting confidence in his ability to make that second move after the defender meets him, and then he can either go the other direction or whatever it takes to make that next move. So I have confidence that he can adjust and he can get better. I don't think he's bust, but I don't think he's a game changer. I don't think he's a franchise changer, but they didn't need a franchise changer. They already have franchise guys. He was a guy that was drafted to fill in. He was not a guy to change the trajectory of the franchise. That's what I think.
I think they wasted that number 10 pick on a guard because it seems like with the moves they made in free agency, they already knew what they had in store and planned. It's go get more guards. I see Johnny Davis being in the G League this season. Honestly, I don't see him making the active roster for the Wizards just because, like you said, the confidence thing. And if we're trying to win now and Bradley Beal signed the extension because he really thinks we can win, Johnny Davis can't help him right now. That's why they went and got Will Barton and Monte Morris and DeLon Wright. So that's just my
playing time is definitely going to be pretty limited with the
league
that's looking at it. So it is interesting to see where he'll fit in minutes wise. Now, you guys were talking about the summer league, last week when we were talking Chet as not something that's like you don't get excited. You shouldn't get excited about a guy who's dominating the summer league. Now, in the same vein here, it just feels like it's a lose-lose for players. If you dominate, it's really not that special because it's the summer league. That's right. But if you struggle, it's even worse because these are not players who are top-tier talent, and you're probably not going to transition to an NBA. So where are we supposed to land on these players? If they dominate, it's nothing special. But if they struggle, it's also a death knell to their career. So do we just need people to be mediocre in the summer league
both can be right, Nathan?
Yeah, both can be right.
I'm not saying that both can't be right. What I'm saying is what do we expect of players then who play in the summer league? Do we need them just to be mediocre?
if you're a top 10 draft pick in the NBA, you should be killing the summer league.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna like give you like, oh, he killed, like that should be expected. You know, like Chet Holmgren should be doing that. Jabari Smith should be doing that. Paolo should be doing that. Johnny Davis should be doing that a little bit more than what he is. He's number 10. 10, you give a leeway because you're 10, but top 10, you should be killing summer league. You got people who are like, this is their second or third summer league, who've been playing G League their whole career, outballing Jabari Smith or outballing Johnny Davis or like whoever was 6, 7, and 8. Top 10 should be expected to kill summer league. I don't care if you guys lose the games. You should be killing summer league.
That doesn't mean that they're going to be stars in the NBA, and it doesn't mean that the guys who don't do well in summer league are going to be total busts.
Right.
But if you, like you're saying, I totally agree with that. You should pop when you're a top 10 pick. You should just look at it. You don't even have to play that great, but you should pop off the screen with your athleticism, playing against guys who have no business being on that court with you. Just like Beal was telling Johnny Davis, you're the best player on that court. You should act like it.
Yeah.
And that's what top 10 picks should do. They should pop on screen. You can just and they could go 0 for 11 from the field, but you can just see it. You can just see that they're better than everybody else out there.
All right, before we move on, I want to actually tackle Gus Bus's point here. Beal at point guard is the dumbest idea ever. I'm going to take this one. It's not Trev. It's the second dumbest idea. The first dumbest idea was giving Beal that contract.
Yes!
The other contract that was given out here in D.C. is Wayne Rooney was signed to be the DC United head coach. The contract is just for a couple of years. Trev, I imagine, do you watch any of the DC United? You watch them? Yeah, you got them now. What about you, Stoner? You watch them? Yeah. Do either of you expect this to actually help this team?
Maybe not this season because it's already halfway gone and we're pretty much too far gone to be in contention. But this would be a nice way to finish the season strong and see what's to come next year and what to expect with Wayne Rooney at the helm. You know what I mean? I'm for it. I like it.
Yeah. I don't think this is one of those deals where some guy from Europe is coming over to cash a paycheck and just enjoy his time over here.
Right.
From when he was here as a player, everybody said his work ethic was off the charts, that he was a leader. The guys looked up to him because he practiced hard and he played hard. And I think he's serious about this coaching thing. I don't think this is just a payday for him. No. He's coming over here because he wants to be a big-time coach. So I look forward to what he can do. He's well-known. He has great relationships in Europe with all these other players. He can recruit guys over to come and get some of those paydays. So I think it will work out.
And the fact that, like you said, he played for us, and then he's like, well, shoot, I'll go back and coach. That means that's
because he had a good relationship with all the team people here as well.
Yeah.
Taxi, Gus Bus brings up Taxi. Taxi is an amazing player. I'm very excited to watch him develop.
Sweet name too.
Not excited about Wayne Rooney, guys. This is a name to make it us better on paper, but it's just not going to translate to the field. Okay. If you look at his coaching in Derby, it just didn't pan out there. Yes, Wayne Rooney has the work ethic. He wants to be a good coach. He wants to do some good things, but it's just not going to happen. But I'm not asking for greatness from him. I'm just asking, don't lose 7-0 anytime soon. Can we just not do that? So I think it'll work out in the interim as far as they can hold par. I don't expect them to win a championship.
No,
but I don't want them to I just don't want them to be as abysmal as they have been. If they can attract some talent and bring some excitement back to DC United, I'd love that too. This is a team that was dominant for so long and won championships, and now
Freddie Adu, man, bring back Freddie Adu.
He's only like 32, I think.
Yeah, do it.
Freddie Adu's just a kid, man. Still,
Dave has some season tickets there for DC United. He says they got rid of every player we all enjoyed watching.
Yeah,
Major League Soccer must learn to keep their American talent. They do, but I enjoy
the European talent coming over to MLS.
I like that, and I want our men's national team to get like it's I appreciate bringing in that MLS homegrown talent, but if we're going to be serious on the world stage, which is where it's most important for the game of soccer for the US going forward, the talent does need to play elsewhere. You need Pulisic and Chelsea. You need these guys playing in the Bundesliga and the Premier League. That's where they're going to be world dominant. And if they become world dominant, and US doesn't need to win the World Cup, but if they can get to be one of the last four, that's going to encourage the next generation. And we're going to continue being a team where this talent, where all of a sudden the talent level grows, and MLS isn't seen as a league for Europe's leftovers. Yeah. Right. Gareth Bale and these guys.
I love Gareth Bale, bro.
He's great. He's a Welsh guy and I'm a Welsh guy. So it's just like, but you don't want them at the twilight of their career. You want them in the highlight of their career. Yeah. And MLS is probably never going to be that. Right. But if they can at least be on par with the English Championship League, which is the second league after Premier League, that's what I think that we can gain some excitement. And that's actually where Wayne Rooney was coaching before, where he did not have success. And I just don't necessarily see it being that exciting.
I think his team got relegated, didn't they? Down to the third division?
It did. Yeah, they did. They got relegated to the next division.
Squad? Is that your team?
No, it's not. Swansea. The Welsh team is my team. So again, Perry's a Welsh name. So it's Swansea City. Swansea till I die. But what's that?
Perry's a Welsh name. Perry is like about as
Welsh
American as you can get.
No, Parry is a Welsh. Oh, okay. Yeah. PE. People are familiar with the PE version, but PA is a Welsh.
I'm just jealous. I've got like the most basic last name in history, so.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's move on. Last topic from the grab bag. Dan Snyder agrees to voluntarily go to Congress. Congress hits him back and says, no, you're going to do this under the subpoena.
Yeah.
His lawyers say, no, we're not doing it under the subpoena.
Yeah.
This back and forth just continues. Some of this is some legalese. Trev, where do you stand on this?
All a stalling tactic for Dan Snyder. That's all it is.
I think it is. I think it's a stall because in August, Congress goes on their summer recess, and then you got the season to vote. What is that called?
Election.
Election season. Sorry. You got election season coming up right after that. Then you're going to have probably a changeover.
That thing where you vote.
Yeah. You're going to have a changeover in who's in power, and then it's all going to just go away. I think it is a stall tactic.
It sucks.
But we'll see what happens, because he's saying, right, the particulars are, real quick, he's going to wow, what kind of name is that?
Just Tim.
If he goes there under a subpoena, right, he can't use any sort of legal tactics to not talk. If he goes there on his own, he's got some legal backing behind him to where he doesn't have to answer certain questions, where he can just say, sorry, that's covered by a non-disclosure agreement, and I can't answer that. So that's why there's kind of this whole legal wrangling between the two. And you're right. It may just be a stall to where they're saying, well, we can't agree. Now we're on recess. Now it's election season. Now it's changed power, and it all just goes away. It's football season. Nobody cares about it, and it all just goes away. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. It is, and he's on his yacht, and it's probably he's never gonna get an official subpoena that way. They can talk about it, but he knows he's being as soon as he touches foot on American soil, he'll be served some papers, and that's what he'll avoid. So they're just gonna have to wait that one out. I'm gonna go back to MLS here real quick before closing out for the thing. MLS has too many teams to ever have this league be competitive with Europe. I think, my opinion, I'm not towing the line here this time. My opinion is the MLS needs to bring in relegation.
absolutely.
You can still have the playoffs, because that's their argument right now is they want to have the playoffs. That's more exciting than having a relegation type thing. Their other argument is you can't have a team like DC United be relegated because they are royalty, they're big market and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, that actually in relegation increases the competition. So in my opinion, bring relegation to the MLS and we would get some better play that way.
Bring relegation to the NFL. Bring it to the NBA. I'd love to see something like that. I'd love to see teams get punished for being bad.
For tanking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
That certainly would be something. And so has this show been. It's been something that's been real fun. Thanks for everyone who's been in the chat. We stream live every Wednesday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And of course, we put this out on all your favorite audio platforms. I'm sorry, I did not bring up the Apple Podcast reviews to read. So if you left one, remind me next week. We'll make sure to read those off. And if you haven't, get out there and leave a review on Apple. That helps other people find our content. We appreciate you always supporting. Thanks for all the donations today. And make sure that you get in some more questions for us to answer next week here on Ref the District when we stream live. I'm Nathan. That's Trev. And that's Stoner. And until next time, what? Be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. And you know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are Ref the District. Podcast. Come on now and join us.